Hey, what is going on, crypto people? It is the Crypto Siege with another day in the life and the crazy life that is the digital asset space. Good morning. Happy Friday to each and every one of you. I hope you're excited. I hope you're excited this morning about being an early adopter in this new asset class that is the digital asset space. And we're going to rapid fire through some news this morning. A lot of interesting stuff going on for sure. So first up, before I even do that, let me remind you that this is your XRP Ripple daily news in around 0 to 10 minutes. So let's do this. So shout out to Michael at Val5Links on Twitter. That guy is just a constant source of information, my friend. We appreciate you taking your time, your energy, and resources to share with the community. Banking titan Citigroup working to bring crypto futures trading to institutional clients. Citigroup, the majors are popping into this space. Goldman, Citigroup, JP Morgan, the majors are popping into this new asset class in a big time way. This is from the daily huddle. I'm just going to go over a couple of things from here for sure. Interesting stuff. Banking behemoth Citigroup is reportedly working to offer its institutional clients Bitcoin futures trading services. Citing an unnamed source. Citing an unnamed source who is familiar with the matter, Bloomberg reports that Citigroup is waiting for regulatory approval to start trading Bitcoin futures, powered by CME Group, the world's largest financial derivatives exchange. The Bitcoin futures contract is a USD, United States dollar, cash settled contract. Isn't that interesting? The decision comes as Citigroup sees an increasing interest in crypto from its clients. Well, you don't say. BlackRock, hey, none of their people, none of our clients over here at BlackRock, yeah, we're all good. Yeah, okay. Given the many questions around regulatory frameworks, supervisor expectations, and other factors, we are being very thoughtful about our approach. We are presently considering products such as futures for some of our institutional clients as these operate under strong regulatory frameworks. Pretty cool. If Citigroup's plan rushes through, the bank will join the following list of financial institutions that have ventured into the crypto space. Last month, Bank of America launched Bitcoin futures trading for a select group of clients. In June, Goldman Sachs partnered with digital asset investment management firm Galaxy Digital as it expanded its BTC futures trading platform. Yeah, that's pretty significant. It's pretty significant stuff there. Microsoft has been granted. Well, first of all, let me continue on this Citigroup thing. We're talking the blue chips here. Citigroup, Bank of America, Goldman Sachs. This new asset class, guys, I gotta tell you again, we're playing a game. We're playing a game that 99.99% of the masses, including Citigroup's clients, including JP Morgan's clients, including Goldman Sachs clients, don't even know is being played. And we, my friends, you and I, we're winning. How cool is that to be ahead? To be ahead of those. We've been in this thing since 2016. Some of you have been perhaps even earlier. Pretty cool. Microsoft has been granted a patent that describes a token creation service aimed at enterprise chains. The service would allow developers to create cross-platform assets. Speaking of cross-platform assets, I'm really getting excited about that Cosmos. Getting excited about that Osmosis Zone. It's early. It may not be as smooth. It may have some hiccups every now and then, but I gotta tell you, getting, for me, this could be an early Aave. It could be an early curve. We don't know. We shall see. Microsoft has patented a token interoperability tool. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? Let's go over this just for a quick second. Microsoft getting in the game. I got something from Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation as well to share with you guys. Microsoft has patented a token interoperability tool. Some takeaways. Microsoft has been granted a patent that describes a token creation service aimed at enterprise chains. The service would allow developers to create cross-platform assets. Microsoft has not explicitly stated that it plans to turn the patent into an actual product or service. Is that right? What in the world? Microsoft has patented a cryptocurrency tool that would allow developers to create ledger-independent tokens in a simple way. With the patent filing, Microsoft describes a method for creating a ledger-independent token service. The service provides various token templates, each of which represents a type of physical or digital asset. Each template also sets controls and functions for the token type in question. In the patent, Microsoft notes that there is currently a lack of standardization for distributed ledger tokens, especially in situations that involve cross-ledger transactions and token reuse. By contrast, the approach described in the patent would allow developers to write code for tokens on different platforms all at once. The patent seems to primarily be aimed at developers using enterprise platforms rather than public blockchains. The patent mentions notable projects in that category, including Hyperledger, Fabric, Quorum, R3, and Chain Core. That is some very, very interesting stuff coming out of the Microsoft camp. Shout out to you guys for getting involved in the space. This is very interesting in the news. The Cuban government is reportedly looking into recognizing and regulating cryptocurrencies to be used for payments. What do you think about that? What do you think about that? Shout out to cryptopotato.com. Let's see here. That is some interesting stuff. Another nation. Cuba's government looking to recognize Bitcoin and crypto for payments. After El Salvador made history this year by accepting Bitcoin as a legal tender, the number of countries planning to mimic the moves continues to grow. You see what's going on? You're getting the bigger picture. And ultimately, I just want you to understand, I want the family to understand, this is about moving away. This is about taking the foot off of your throat of the US dollar. That prior to it becoming a weapon, everyone loved it. But the minute the powers to be decided to weaponize the US dollar, they've been looking for nations like El Salvador and Cuba, have been looking, Russia, have been looking for an alternative. That's the digital asset space is representing, right? That's how I see it. So after El Salvador made history earlier this year by accepting Bitcoin as a legal tender, the number of countries planning to mimic the move continues to grow. And if you don't understand that, I encourage you to read the book, The Confessions of an Economic Hitman. It'll really waken you up. It really will wake you up, my friend. A recent report showed that Cuba's central bank wants to implement rules enabling the nation to utilize digital assets legally. Crypto Potato reported in May this year when Cuba's president, Miguel Diaz-Canel, working with other authorities in the country, reviewed possible ways of how to adopt cryptocurrencies to overcome the financial turbulence, which intensified after the beer cold. Now, only the longtime fans would know what the beer cold is. Earlier on, August the 27th, Bloomberg cited the local official Gazette informing that the nation is indeed planning to step into the digital asset space. The report indicated that Cuba's government, together with the central bank, wants to recognize and regulate cryptocurrency for payments. The Central Banking Authority will implement the rules and determine how to license providers of such services that can operate within the island. Most of the central banks are going to be looking at something like this. This is kind of what it is, guys. It's just kind of what it is. And this surgery is interesting. Cuba's economy has suffered for years, but it took another hit when the former US President Trump's administration implemented new sanctions and crippled the usage of the dollar. Well, there it is. And this is going to become a trend. This will become the norm. Nation after nation after nation looking to take that foot off their neck. It says it right there. Cuba's economy has suffered for years, but it took another hit when the former President Trump's administration implemented new sanctions and crippled the uses of the dollar. A recent estimation by a senior Cuban ministry official, Johanna Tabalada, noted that these measures had cost the country around $20 billion. The damage to the bilateral relationship during this time has been considerable, and the economic harm to Cuba immense. We estimate it at about 20 billion. Talabata comment. Which one is it? I think they spelled it wrong. It's Johanna Tabalata, and then they have something else here. Anyway, consequently, the decentralized nature of Bitcoin and some cryptocurrencies could provide a viable alternative for Cuba. And I've said this on the channel time and time again to these content creators who don't get the bigger picture, and they're trying to, point out some ills, and they point out the cons and don't point out the pros. This is a nation here where it's people, if you will. You could pick any other nation. You don't have to pick Cuba because of their politics. The bottom line, it's a nation that has been harmed, thus its people has been harmed, and they're looking for an answer, another choice for financial independence and freedom, maybe just living in a viable, prosperous economy. That's what Bitcoin brings. It's not Bitcoin, the technology, it's the monetary policies behind it. That's the key. All right, so consequently, the decentralized nature of Bitcoin and some cryptocurrencies could provide a viable alternative for Cuba. Nevertheless, the state wants to make sure that the digital asset operations are controlled to an extent and to use them for reasons of socio-economic interest. Why? Because it's Cuba. It's worth noting that El Salvador was the first nation to accept Bitcoin as a legal tender. Its laws come into effect in less than 2 weeks. I did not know that. Very, very cool, very, very interesting. Again, I believe it is going to become a theme throughout the world, looking for viable options just the way it is. This is some interesting stuff coming from DAI. I want to share this video because I do think it's hugely important to know and understand, okay, is this SEC versus Ripple lawsuit is very, very interesting. And we said on this channel time and time again, this thing with Hinman and Clayton is not going to go away. It's not going to go away. And it could end up very much could end up being where Ripple and its digital asset XRP gets the blessing and continues to operate without any intervention from government entities in the US. And every other project has to still continue to look over their shoulder for government entities. It's looking like that could be the case. Let's listen to this. The SEC was using Bill Hinman to provide guidance, Bill Hinman's speech to provide guidance to the market with his Ethereum speech. Hinman filed a sworn affidavit in court saying the SEC has not taken any position or expressed a view.
That's the most helpful thing, I think. Our director of corporation finance, Bill Hinman, gave a speech about a year and a half ago that describes this.
This is, I don't know if this is a former, I think it is a former SEC commissioner, Robert Jackson. Thank God for former. Anyway, let's listen to this dude.
The most helpful thing, I think, our director of corporation finance, Bill Hinman, gave a speech about a year and a half ago that describes this. You might know the speech I have in mind. That's it. So the question is, where do we draw that line? And the how we test and the guidance we put out in this area has informed that difference. Now, one more thing. You mentioned cryptocurrency. What's important about that is to realize that the way that cryptocurrency works, when it is, and this is what Bill Hinman's speech says, so I'm not adding too much, depends fundamentally on how centralized or decentralized the underlying network is that supports that currency. And that's also true in the ICO context. Bill has said a lot about that, about ways that practitioners can look in that area and get a sense for whether or not we should think of that as a security. And I point people to that speech. Do you think we've been clear enough about that?
I point people to that speech. I point people to that speech for guidance and or clarity. Now they're messing around, and we've heard this dude say time and time again how we can't do the rule slant a law, but we can give guidance, and we don't really want to do a rule or law because then it might change. It's typical lawyering at its best or at its worst. I don't know which one. He asking this late person here, do we think we've given clarity? Listen to this.
No. Yeah, I expected you to say that. Now let me ask you this. No, seriously. I've heard that a lot. What could we do that would be more clear? I want to be clear because a lot of people have come in and asked us for more guidance on this. And it's not that I don't want to be, I don't want to speak for my.
He's asking people in the audience, do you think we've been clear on this? And the dude said, no.
Not that I don't want to be responsive. It's that I worry that if we make a rule today, it will make a lot less sense to the marketplace in 6 months in this space. Do you see what I'm worried about? And for better or for worse, the machinery of the bureaucracy of the US government works in a fashion where if I were to pitch a rule and know exactly what it was, exactly what we, if you and I could get a beer and agree what the rule should be, by the time it became law, it'd be a year later. And by that time, the ground will have moved underneath us. So if you sense, at least from my point of view, wanting to give this some time to figure out and do it by guidance as opposed to rule, that's what's driving us.
Interesting stuff coming from this dude. interesting stuff for sure coming out of this dude. Yeah, there's plenty of videos of this guy on Twitter. Thank God for social media. Without question, willing to share. And DAI has been, as much as I disagree with a lot of the things that he espouses on his channel. This work here has been tremendous in in educating and providing the info and these videos on Twitter, and doing a great job of exposing the madness that's coming out of the SEC. So shout out to DAI for doing that. All right, guys, listen, I am going to end this video like I do all of my videos and remind you guys of this. Old money doesn't want you to win. They don't want us to win. They would rather that we remain a cog in their perpetual wheel of trading our time for dollars. They don't want us to play in the same playground that they play in, where we allow our money to work for us. This is our chance to win, guys. The digital asset space is our chance to win. We are in the midst of the greatest transfer of wealth in the history of man. Are you participating, or are you standing on the sidelines? Here's what I do know, that the battle for you has already been fought, and the victory is yours. Go get it. I'll talk to you soon, guys. See ya. Bye.